cycling without a helmet?
And why are you driving without a helmet?
We can all agree that protecting our noggin is important. But why is it common to wear a helmet when cycling, but not for everyday tasks like cleaning, walking in the woods, or driving?
In this video, we'll explore when and why wearing a helmet makes sense and discuss the pros and cons. I'm Vera.
And I'm Shreddy Spaghetti. As you can see, we cycle without a helmet. We get asked about this a lot, so we wanted to share our reasoning.
Believe it or not, the risk of a head injury is actually higher during some everyday activities than when cycling. Take a look at this graph comparing head injury probabilities across different activities.
It seems like our heads are at constant risk, but this raises a question. Why is cycling singled out? Are we really exposing ourselves to the same risks as a Formula One driver, a skier, or a construction worker? Or does it depend on how we cycle? Is there a difference between mountain biking and riding to the shops?
The truth is, answering whether cycling is safe or dangerous isn't simple. It depends on many factors. Studies show that risk levels vary greatly based on driving culture, street design, and cycling infrastructure. Needless to say, cycling in the Netherlands is far safer than in the US.
Also, study methods vary, and there aren't many recent large-scale studies. But from what we did find, the overall risk is often overstated by safety campaigns.
Ultimately, your safety depends largely on your own behavior. Choosing safer routes and being mindful of risks reduces the chance of an accident. Having experience and, maybe even more important, knowing how to avoid dangerous situations makes cycling one of the safest things you can do.
But if you do have an accident, surely your head is most at risk, right?
Actually, statistics show that cyclists are more likely to injure their extremities, arms, hips, and shoulders than their heads. Internal injuries are also on the rise, especially if you ride an e-bike.
That said, helmets do provide protection against certain types of head injuries, but they also come with risks. For example, if worn incorrectly, they can increase the chance of neck injuries.
And that's more common than you'd think. We often see cyclists wearing their helmets like baseball caps or even backwards. Ironically, these are often the first people to lecture us on helmet safety.
So let's clear things up. Here's a step-by-step guide on how to wear a helmet properly so it actually protects you. Step 1. Adjust the inner ring so that the helm fits you snugly. It should be tight enough that it won't slide down and fall off, but not so tight that it causes discomfort. A good test: look down and shake your head. If the helmet moves, it's too loose. Pass the test.
Make sure the straps are flat against the head, forming a triangle around your ears.
Fasten the chin strap. It should be snug enough that the helmet won't shift back, but loose enough so that you can yawn comfortably.
Position the helmet correctly. It should cover part of your forehead but not block your vision.
Check the straps occasionally, especially if you're adjusting a child's helmet. The straps can be fiddly for a child's fingers, and many require oversight. And of course, they can loosen over time. Now, what kind of protection does a helmet actually offer?
Helmets are designed to protect against moderate impacts, like hitting your head in a fall at low speeds. Think of the force from hitting a football. They are tested with a steel anvil falling from 1.5 meters at speeds up to 19.5 kilometers per hour.
But beyond that, it's uncertain. A helmet likely won't save you if you crash into a tree at 50 kilometers an hour on a racing bike, fall off a cliff on a mountain bike, or get hit by a truck.
Of course, some people swear that the helmet saved their life, but because accidents can't be recreated under identical conditions, we can't know for sure. In science, this would be called a double-blind study, which is the key factor of any study.
Plus, an aging or damaged helmet might not protect you at all. Helmets degrade over time, even without visible cracks. The foam weakens with exposure to heat, UV rays, and minor impacts. That's why helmets have an expiry date, typically 5 years. Unfortunately, the manufacturing date isn't printed anywhere, so don't ever buy a used helmet. If yours is older or has been dropped, it's time to replace it.
Ultimately, it comes down to risk assessment. I personally don't want to find out whether a helmet would have saved me. I'd rather not crash in the first place.
Just like when walking, showering, or cooking, we take precautions. Life involves risk, and accidents happen, but we reduce those risks by paying attention.
Some might say, why not just wear a helmet as a precaution? And sure, if we were doing risky activities, we would.
But for us, helmets are uncomfortable. They can itch, scratch, cause headaches, and become a distraction. For neurodivergent individuals like us, this discomfort can be even worse.
And the key to avoiding accidents? Staying alert. If something does keep me safe on the road, it's focus, not discomfort from a helmet.
Oh, and bike-friendly infrastructure, of course, but that's another topic.
That said, we don't just rely on luck. As experienced cyclists and educators, we know how to keep out of trouble.
But that doesn't apply to everyone. Some groups, like children or people returning to cycling after years, are more at risk.
They may have less bike control or struggle with quick decision making.
And if you ride aggressively, like a bike courier, or use your bike for sports, wearing a helmet is a sensible choice. It all depends on your personal risk level.
That's why helmets aren't mandatory in most countries. It's a personal decision.
We choose not to wear them because we feel safe and find them uncomfortable. If we would have to wear one, we simply wouldn't cycle. Which means that we're not going to Australia for our next cycling trip. Sorry.
But if wearing one makes you feel safer, more confident, or simply gives you peace of mind, go for it. Especially if you ride in higher risk situations. Just don't assume that wearing a helmet means you can take more risks.
And let's not judge each other for personal choices. A bit more live and let live would be nice.
If you've ever been called out by a self-appointed traffic enforcer, a witty but respectful response might be the best way to handle it.
But we're happy to have a respectful and nuanced discussion, if you're willing to listen.
We hope we sparked your curiosity. If this video gave you something to think about, hit like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.
Until then,
Thanks for watching
happy cycling!
and stay safe. Bye.
Bye!